This one mistake ruins more fat loss attempts than anything else. Hey team, and welcome to this week's episode of The Inspired Show, the show that's dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself, mentally as well as physically. We've got a great episode for you this week, all about this one mistake that's holding so many people back, and once you fix it, you'll see absolutely amazing results. But before we delve into it, if you've not done so already, hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so, and it means you stay updated with every single episode we drop every single week. Smash a like on this video, share it with somebody who's going to benefit, and as always, let me know any big takeaways in the comments down below or any questions you got about your goals. I'll be making sure to cover it in a future episode. So what we're going to be talking about today is your expectations. If you've got skewed expectations, this is going to really hold you back. Now, when it comes to losing weight, a lot of people have the expectation that they should be losing 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds every single week. And when they don't see that happening, they get really frustrated because they see all the effort they're putting in terms of eating better, moving more, sleeping better, managing their stress, and they're not getting the outcome they want. So when they lose half a pound here, £2 there, a pound here, or they ever maintain, they feel like what they're doing is not good enough, which then leads them to self-sabotage. We've all been there. I've done really well this week and I've not lost any weight. What's the effing point? They revert back to old behaviors, they use food and alcohol as a way to deal with stresses, and they're back in square one, starting again on another Monday. So we need to really align what expectations should look like and what success looks like when it comes to changing how your body looks and how it feels. Now, from a weight loss point of view, we've got to understand that losing weight takes time. Think about it like this. You didn't wake up one day out of shape, overweight, and low confidence. It's been an accumulation of years and years and years of poor lifestyle choices around your food and around your movement, which means it's going to take a little bit of time to undo that, and that's okay. So from a weight loss point of view, you're going to be looking at half a pound, maybe £2 per week. And that's the range you're going to be looking for. But we also need to understand that some weeks you're going to maintain. Some weeks you might even gain. And that doesn't mean you're not putting the effort in. It could vary due to things like time of the month, hydration levels, stress levels, if you've eaten more salt than normal, if you had more carbs than normal, if you've trained really hard. Like, these things have a factor when it comes to weight loss. So we need to expect those things to happen. But it's also important that we have other metrics of success. So when we see the scales stagnate or bump up, we can look at other areas to see if we're still progressing. So what areas can we look at? We can look at things like progress photos. Like, can you see the difference in how your body's looking? Can we take measurements? If you're losing inches on your arms, your stomach, your hips, and your legs, it's showing success. Can you look at things like habit-based wins? For example, rate your nutrition on a scale of 1 to 10. So prior to starting your journey, maybe your food was, a 3 out of 10. And now the quality of food is better. Eating more fruit, eating more veg, higher protein, higher fiber. So it might be a 7 out of 10. That's an improvement. Before starting, you might have been doing 3,000 steps a day. Now you're doing 6,000 steps a day. That's an improvement. Maybe you're going to bed really late at night and doom scrolling, but now you go to bed at a reasonable time and you don't go on your phone half an hour before going to bed. That's an improvement. So it's very, very important, as well as looking at the scales, we look at other measures of success. So when you do get those weeks where the scales are stagnated or it's bumped up, you can say, right, okay, maybe the scales haven't moved where I want them to go, but I've done really well in this area, and this area, which allows you to keep going and stops you from self-sabotaging. So when it comes to expectations around weight, that's the important thing we need to remember. You're not going to lose a lot of weight every single week, and it will vary, and that's okay. But we need to understand, we need to look at other metrics of success. The second thing when it comes to expectations is what you do in order to achieve your weight loss. Now, ultimately, in order to lose weight, you've got to eat a little bit less and move a little bit more. You've got to create a calorie deficit. However, for most people, what they do is they try and overhaul everything at once, and it becomes unattainable. That's why so many people are starting again every single January, every single Monday, because they go into a new week, they change their food, they change their movement, they try to get to bed on time, they try and drink 2 litres of water, they cut out the alcohol, they cut out the crisps, they try and be a good parent, a good partner, they try and go to work, and it's very overwhelming. You're spinning so many different plates, and because you're not used to trying to change all these things at once, these things will start faltering and failing, and then because you're faltering and failing, you go, I've already ruined it now, I've already had a takeaway, or I've skipped a gym session, so you revert back to the all-nothing mindset, and that's when you self-sabotage. So for some people, you might need to strip it back even further. You might need to say to yourself, well, this week, instead of changing everything only to fail by Wednesday, I'm going to start focusing on walking a little bit more for the first week. Get really good at doing that. And then the second week, you might add in some more fruit and veg. Get really good at doing that. The week after might be focused on your bedtime. Get really good at doing that. And what you're doing is you're layering these things in. And when you do it that way, it's a lot less overwhelming because you haven't got too much to focus on at once. And you're laying foundations for habit change. And they start becoming automatic. Just like you wake up every single day and you brush your teeth, these things will become automatic. You don't have to think about it. You don't need motivation. You just simply do it. And that's how you start changing behaviors and habits. And that's what the expectation should be. Not to overhaul things at once, but to make small changes over time that compound into automatic habits. And when you do that, alongside the right expectations of weight loss, you're going to see much better results. Rather than losing 5 pounds in the first week being too extreme that you can't stick to it, only to regain it a few weeks later and self-sabotaging for another couple of weeks and then starting again. Okay, it stops this yo-yo and going back and forwards. So your goal for this week is get realistic on what your weight loss should look like. Look at other metrics of success that you want to use, whether it's taking progress photos, taking measurements, or just rating your food, your movement, and your sleep. And then asking yourself, what are 1 to 2 things that I can change this week? And then compound that over time. And that will allow you to see much better results. Now, if you need help with this, we've got an 8-week challenge starting on the 12th of January, which helps you with all this plus much more. So if you want more information on that, simply comment with the words 8 weeks and I'll send you all the details. But until next week, team, have a great day and I'll speak to you very, very soon.